Quieto ahí. Quieto, conejito espacial. Toma. La tarjeta. Dame eso y eso. Módulo lógico corrupto. Esto se lo puedo dar al señor Ludwig. No sé. Misión cumplida. ¿Y esto? ¿Esto sirve? ¿Para algo? Abajo. Ahora había otro por acá. Me parece que era por acá. ¿Qué pasó? No me hables con susurros que no te entiendo nada y encima hablas en inglés. A ver esto. Ingeniería, desactivar válvulas de emisión de vapor, dale. Excelente. Ah, era así, bien. Bueno. Ya tenemos camino libre, pero la verdad que ya era el pedo. Pero quería demostrar que soy un buen ingeniero. ¿Dónde? ¿Cómo hago para llegar hasta vos, idiota? ¿Dónde carajo está? Está ahí abajo el imbécil. Voy a saltar arriba de tu puta cabeza. El juego me parece que no quiere que llegue hasta vos. Ah, sí, puedo llegar. Bueno, a ver si vamos a hablar con este imbécil. Espera un segundito, Higgins, que te voy a robar todo lo que tengas por acá. Probablemente no tenés nada. Pero ya es costumbre en este punto. Guía de ingeniería mecánica, al fin. Se lo tengo que dar. No me acuerdo a quién se lo tenía que dar. Hablemos.
You're not real. You're not real. Get away from me, Phantom. Shoot. Scram.
No quería asustarte. La mayoría de la gente no me ve venir.
Most people? But I'm the only one left. No. Remember your first rule, Higgins. No arguing with the Phantoms. See? See, Higgins? This is why you must always boil your sprats before ingesting.
Comes ratruchas.
Of course. Sprats are an excellent source for my daily recommended intake of mercury. Chester D. Higgins. The D stands for definitely not insane. I use it as a reminder.
¿Y qué es lo que haces aquí?
Oh, Higgins has been many things over the years. Sprat Wrangler, Saltuna Critic, Aetherwave Personality, Chairman of the Board, Galactic Defender, Sisty Pig Tycoon. I've come a long way for someone who started off as a simple engineer right here in this plant.
¿Qué pasó en este sitio?
Mechanicals lost their bolts. Opened fire on anything that moved. It was pandemonium.
¿Y no te mataron?
I was on cleaning duty at the time. My old boss had me scrubbing pipes when the killing started. So, as usual, I missed out.
¿Llevas aquí todo este tiempo? ¿Cómo es que no te has muerto de hambre?
Jimmy'd opened the vending machines. That lasted a good couple of months. Eventually, I had to resort to more unconventional means of filling my insides.
Empezaste a comer ratruchas.
Braised, boiled, charred, skewered. Sprats are good eating, friend. Chock full of brain food.
Has dicho que eras ingeniero. ¿Qué tareas tenías?
I specialized in automechanicals, drones, sentries. Repaired them, maintained, upgraded. Did it all from my old workroom just over in the next section.
¿Cuánto tiempo llevas viviendo aquí?
Jimmy'd opened the vending machines. That lasted.
Ah, sí, ya me dijiste. No sé por qué mierda me dio la opción de preguntarte esto otra vez. Ok. ¡Qué asco!
Well, yes, for the uninitiated palate. A true gourmand appreciates the Sprat's complex melange of flavors. Braised, boiled, charred.
Sí, vale. ¿Y qué tengo que preguntarte esto otra vez? ¿Y eso fue antes o después de convertirte en magnate del carcipuerco?
Oh, before. Definitely before. Sissy Pig Tycoonery was the apex of my long and storied career.
Si has trabajado con los mecanoides, tienes que saber cómo detenerlos.
Look, I don't want to fall into any trouble with the mechanicals. If they wise up to our plans, they will come for us. With prodding irons.
Puedo encargarme de los mecanoides. ¿He llegado hasta aquí o no?
You know, you remind me of myself back when I was an intergalactic adventurer. I discovered a flaw. Their hostility levels were hardwired to maximum. There's no changing that, but you could rewrite their targeting protocol so they attack each other instead.
Los mecanoides siguen el comportamiento de su módulo lógico. ¿Alguien lo alteró?
Yes, that's exactly it. I see you're also versed in the noble art of mechanical engineering.
Algo.
There's a behavior control terminal in the other room. It should have options to change how the mechanicals act, including whom they shoot at. Oh, that reminds me. You'll need my passcode to access the behavior control terminal. Here, let me just write it down for you.
Quería preguntarte algo.
The tail. Definitely start with the tail. If you're feeling adventurous, the ears are a particular delicacy.
No, ya está. Si no me vas a empezar a decir todo otra vez. Es una charla de locos. Bien, ¿y dónde está eso que me dijiste? Arriba. En la otra habitación. Acá no hay nada. Tengo los códigos. Modificar comportamiento. Nuevo modo. Se ha ordenado que los automecanoides de esta instalación permanezcan en modo guarda. Todo intento de modificar dicha configuración puede ser castigada por la ley corporativa. Su infracción se ha registrado en un expediente permanente. CEO Higgins. Preséntate ante tu supervisor para concertar una amonestación. Nuevo objetivo. Definir intrusos. Definir intrusos como automecanoides de ganga espacial. Y... listo. Y ahora se van a matar entre sí, si es que queda alguno. Me parece que no queda ninguno. Y ahora, ¿qué mierda estoy buscando? ¿Qué decís? ¿A quién debería salvar? ¿Listo? Decisiones. Estado de la central. Centro operando al 22% de eficiencia. Actualmente la energía se distribuye a fábrica de conservas, al atún y laboratorio botánico. Detectado daño estructural. Informe a su supervisor designado. ¿Qué hice? ¿Qué mierda hice? ¿Lo hice bien? Todavía no está hecho. Claro, por eso había más de esas mierdas. Acá tenés otro. Ir y volver al pedo. Bien.
Hey, mister? Look, I know you want your power regulator and all, but I just gotta ask you. Do you understand what you're about to do?
No me importaría saber qué piensas tú.
I don't think you should cut off Edgewater's power. I think it would be cruel. I'm sorry. That just sort of came out all at once. Edgewater's hurting. We've been losing workers year after year, and corporate hardly ever sends replacements. There's barely enough Saltuna to fill our bellies anymore. But the town's got some good people in it. Decent, hard-working folk just living their lives the only way they know how. They don't deserve to be punished.
Reid dice que Frontemar morirá si se queda sin trabajadores y sin corriente.
That sure sounds like Mr. Thompson. If he was standing here, I imagine he'd remind us of how we're all one big, happy Spacer's Choice family. In Mr. Thompson's eyes, those deserters are still part of the Spacer's Choice family. The family must work together in order to survive. I hate to say it, but I think Mr. Thompson's got a point. Unless those deserters come back, Edgewater's as good as dead. Cutting off their power might be the only way.
Comprendo lo que quieres decir. Creo que estoy listo para tomar una decisión.
Sorry, I didn't mean to babble on like that. I
Ay,
felt like I had to
total,
say something.
iba a tomar esa decisión porque la verdad que la vieja esa me caía mal. Me alegro de lo hayas hecho. Me gusta saber tu opinión.
Really? I mean, wow. Thanks. No one's ever told me those words.
Nada más te digo lo que querés escuchar. Mierda estás. Bien. Redirigir. Fallos graves, alta probabilidad de daño estructural moderado grave. El redireccionamiento del suministro es un procedimiento irreversible. Redirigir a Frontemar. Excelente. ¿Y ahora qué? Voy a hablar con la vieja. A ver qué opina de lo que dicen. A ver, ¿dónde está la vieja forajida? Te voy a hablar con ella. De asuntos importantes. ¿Estás ahí? ¿Estás aquí? Hola, ¿qué
That's
tal?
the thing about growing old. Your eyes start to fail. Elsewise, I would have seen you for the snake that you are, chopped you into pieces and roasted you on a...
Ah, sabía que eras una
This is all
arpía.
you're doing. Cutting off my power, killing off my garden. Without refrigeration, my food will spoil, and my flock will
Uy, no, qué
starve.
problema.
I want to ask you this in private, away from the eyes of my flock, so they do not see me lose my temper. Tell me, why did you do it?
Porque, ¿por qué no? Red quiere a su gente de vuelta.
You want my flock wasting their lives in that cannery? Fine. Go and talk to them. Go talk to Grace and Thomas. Look them in the eye and tell them their life here is over, and the only thing left to do is go back to Edgewater. This is now your responsibility. And you tell Reed Thompson that I will never return to Edgewater. I would rather die among my flowers than live under his management.
No sé. ¿Qué te ha pasado, Adelaide? Todo ese odio tiene que haber salido de alguna parte.
My son worked in that cannery. When the plague started coming, he was one of the first to fall sick. We had a store of medicine locked away, but Reed refused to treat him. Said my boy didn't deserve treatment. Said the medicine would have been wasted on him. So I buried my boy in the cemetery, gathered my belongings, and left. That's as much of the story as you need to hear.
Está siendo irracional. Vuelve a Frontemar.
As long as Reed is still in Edgewater, I will not return. Those are my terms.
¿Qué quieres que lo mate? Puedo ocuparme de Red si quieres.
You offering to cross Reed off, huh? This some sort of twisted reparation for what you've done? Or you just looking for a chance to sow some chaos? Kill Reed if you must, or talk him into leaving if you can. He and I are not sharing the same four walls together.
Reed no va a abandonar su puesto porque sí, necesito ayuda para persuadirlo.
Tell Reed that I can make his people healthy again. I can end their plague. Start a new garden right in the cannery. 3 square meals for every man and woman in Edgewater. Tell him how I've made the Vale bloom again. The soil has whispered its secrets to me, and I alone know how to breathe life back into the earth. The secret is human corpses. I've been grinding them up in my fertilizer for years. Marauder, worker, don't matter much to me. The human body is rich with nutrients.
¿Qué pasa cuando te quedas sin cadáveres?
Edgewater Cemetery's got corpses aplenty, enough for a generation's worth of crops.
Basta de cháchara. Sos bastante perversita, vieja, ¿eh? Me quedo con esto. Bueno, nos vemos, supongo. Vuelve la falible. No, para primero tengo que hablar con todos estos. Y tenía una misión para uno de ustedes. ¿Quién era? ¿Vos?
What happened?
¿Grace Romero?
Everybody keeps staring at me. It's not my fault the power's dead.
Es tu momento. Hoy es tu día de suerte, Tomás. Tengo una de esas tabletas que querías.
No kidding. Really? Well, which one?
Todas. La primera parte.
Look at that. Building a computing machine out of Spectrum potatoes, a primer. I'm just glad it survived all these years. I appreciate you going through all that trouble. One datapad's enough to guide me down my newfound path. Just remember, I got something saved for you if you find me all three.
No sé. Tengo algo más.
Well, don't keep me in suspense.
La segunda parte.
Ain't that just ironical? If I'd worked a little longer back at the cannery, I might have found this myself. 2 whole datapads? Be still my beating heart. Oh, almost forgot your payment.
Y tengo algo más.
Well, don't keep me in suspense.
La tercera parte.
The geothermal plant? Now that is just incredible. You really went exploring down there? Adelaide always told us it was swarming with hostile mechanicals.
Ya no.
That's a complete set. All 3 parts. I'm gonna be the greatest engineer Halcyon's ever seen. Aside from you, Ms. Parvati, I swear, I'll do you proud.
I'm glad we could help, Thomas.
I've been saving something for you. Just a little contraption I found. Should fit right into your outfit.
¿Qué mierda es? No sobreviviréis sin electricidad. Es hora de volver a Frontemar.
I've been thinking about going back. I'm not much use to anybody here. I get sick thinking about working at the cannery. I can't do that again.
Frontemar está pasando un mal momento. Necesitan tantos trabajadores como pueda conseguir.
Yeah, I know. Thought's been weighing on me. Spacer's Choice could scupper the whole town unless we all pull together somehow. I could do a lot of good in Edgewater. Maybe even keep a garage of my own with a little workbench and my very own toolbox. It's just... Adelaide's never gonna forgive me. Not in 100 years.
Dejala la vieja.
I go
Está
crawling
loca.
back to my old life in Edgewater and I'm as good as dead to her.
¿Y eso por qué?
Adelaide hates Edgewater, hates everything Edgewater stands for, hates what that town does to people, what it did to her. We're the nearest she's got to kin. We go back to Edgewater, we may as well have stuck a knife in her heart.
No tiene corazón. Pasad de Adelaide. Debéis regresar a Frontemar.
Are you sure about this? If we head back to Edgewater on our own, Adelaide won't come with us. She'll stay here and curse us till the end of her days.
Lo estoy. Os irá mejor en el pueblo. Adelaide puede quedarse.
I expect we got no choice. Edgewater needs us back, and loath as I am to admit it, we need Edgewater. You okay with this, Grace?
My affairs are all settled. Thanks for helping me with Zoe.
Just give us some time to gather our personals and say our goodbyes. If you run into Reed, you tell him we're coming back, yeah?
Ok. Cuídate. ¿Alguien más quiere algo? No sé. El Colorado este, vos.
Don't see why Thomas can't just get the generator up and running. Something I can help you with?
No. Grace Romero.
Back to the old cannery, huh? Don't know what else I expected.
Te dejo lo tuyo. ¿Viste quién era? No. ¿Y tu amiguita dónde mierda está? A ver si la vieja me dice algo más. Ya los está maldiciendo. Vieja.
Look at that. The snake's come back.
He convencido a los tuyos para que regresen. Van a volver a sus puestos.
Good for them. I'm glad. Back to the old cannery with Grace and Thomas and Stefan and all the
Deja de hacerte la dura, vieja,
I
vuelve.
expected it'd end like this. Lived out here for years all by my lonesome.
Ay,
Only right
Dios.
that I'd die the same way.
Qué testaruda,
I expect you've done enough for the Vale. If you don't mind leaving an old lady with her thoughts, I'd be much obliged.
Aún no es demasiado tarde, puedes volver a Frontemar.
It is too late, and I'm tired of talking.
De acuerdo, adiós Adelaide. Sellada la puerta. Bueno, vamos. Estás en casa, Ludwig.
Never seen the Vale lit up like this before.
Dijiste algo de un módulo lógico. Encontré uno en la central geotérmica.
Bang up work, soldier. You're a credit to your uniform. Oh, that reminds me. Gotta look into getting us a uniform. So this is it then. The key to humanity's victory over the mechanical hordes. I would reward you with the gratitude of the Resistance, but I'm guessing you want something tactile. So here's a couple of bits for your trouble, and a little something to remember me by.
Cuídate. Ay, Señor Reed.
This is a fine day, friend. Power flows through our town like a cool stream of water. I trust Adelaide's people have seen their way to reason. So, when can I expect them back at their posts?
Inmediatamente. Adelaide no volverá a Frontemar, pero sus seguidores sí.
That's good enough for me. Adelaide and I have a history. Was unlikely she'd ever come back.
La vieja loca me pidió que te mate.
We are in your debt. I am authorizing you for a discount on all official Spacer's Choice products, courtesy of the people of Edgewater.
Fantástico. Espera, llevo tiempo queriendo hacerte una pregunta.
By all means.
He conocido a un empleado tuyo llamado Thomas. Dice que quiere ser ingeniero.
Thomas. Thomas Kemp? I remember him. Had to write him up for daydreaming a few too many times.
Deberías darle una oportunidad, tiene potencial.
He tries real hard, Mr. Thompson. This is something he wants to do. That'll make him twice as good.
I will give him a chance to impress me. If he knows his way around a toolbox, I may have a place for him in the Holcomb workshop.
Has recuperado a tus empleados, ¿y ahora qué?
This whole fiasco is not one I am keen on repeating. I was too hard on my own workers. I pushed them to their breaking point.
Bien hecho.
With more hands at the cannery, I expect productivity will rise. I expect we'll grow. And I expect I can ask corporate to send us some more medicine. We'll survive, one way or another.
Olvídalo. Bueno, ¿y ahora qué? No se puede abrir sin la llave de Red, mierda. ¿Me puedes dar tu llave, Red? O tengo que matarte para eso. Bah. Bueno, y llegamos a destino, pero pará. Tengo un asunto pendiente antes.
Is this your ship? Oh my stars, she is just so handsome. Does she have a name yet? What's her drive model? Oh, gosh. Listen to me babbling. When I was in Edgewater, I dreamed of flying on a real ship, working on a real engine, belonging to a proper crew. I'm the only decent mechanic Edgewater's got, but every time I think of going back, I get this sinking feeling.
¿No has estado nunca en una nave?
I've worked on the occasional supply coach in need of repairs. Once I built a little model craft out of spare parts, but Mr. Thompson found out and I had to take it apart. I want to ask you something, and you can say no. But can I come with you? I could tend to your engine. I know my G-valves for my catalyzers, and I can keep your ship singing. And if you ever need a pair of eyes watching your back, I can do that too. What do you think?
¿Estás segura que a Reed no le importará que vengas conmigo?
I know. Mr. Thompson said I was to chaperone you about the Vale. Loan me out to you like I was Spacer's Choice property. Well, they may think I am, but I'm not. Yeah, Mr. Thompson's got a temper. but I'm more scared of missing out than I am of him. I don't want to lose my one chance at seeing the stars.
Me encantaría que vinieras conmigo. Elige el camarote que quieras.
Yes! I mean, thanks. You won't regret this, mister. Captain. I can call you Captain now. Ha! I got a captain.
Sí, capitán, no me digas capitana. A ver, como decía, tengo asuntos pendientes con esos monitos espaciales de mierda, que ahora ya no tienen nivel para mí. Soy demasiado poderoso. Aparte de ver que había... Qué pecio antiguo. Pecio antiguo, ¿eh? Un fiambre, que no tiene nada. Che, pero estaba lleno de enemigos acá. ¿Dónde mierda están? Se ve que... Se fueron. Despawnearon. Como sea. Quería un poco de venganza. Pero hay algunas cositas para agarrar. ¿Dónde mierda se fueron? Este se quedó sin cabeza. Ok. Absolutamente nada. Bueno. Volvamos a la nave. Pongo el núcleo energético ese. Y nos vamos para nuevos... Para pastos más verdes. Aunque el planeta este estaba lindo. Pero bueno, ya no hay nada que hacer.
Well, I certainly am looking forward to flying on a ship named the Unreliable. I'll just head upstairs and claim a room.
Puedes sacarte la ropa de religioso si querés. O no sé, quieren hablar o algo. Hay como un sistema de confianza entre compañeros. No, mira, ¿ya estás arriba? ¿Tan rápido? Ponete cómoda.
Captain, I have detected that Edgewater's power supply is now optimal. I applaud your willingness to invest your time in the local community.
Sí, solucioné todos sus problemas.
What can I do for you, Captain?
Tengo un regulador de corriente.
Do you know how to install a power regulator?
Sí, sé lo que hago.
Outstanding, Captain. Your aptitude for engineering will prove invaluable in the event of another catastrophic engine failure. Our engine room is located behind you. Across the cargo bay, up the ladders.
Volveré. Ay, tengo que hacer todo. ¿Y eso qué era? Ah, para reasignar mis puntos de nivel. Ok. Acá tenés tu regulador. Hecho, hada.
What can I do for you, Captain?
He instalado el regulador de corriente.
All systems are operating within acceptable parameters. I am prepared to bring the Unreliable into low altitude orbit. This should prove an adequate test of our flight capabilities.
Larguémonos de aquí. Está en buenas condiciones, ¿no? Porque ahí veo que la turbina parecía que iba a explotar.
We have received a communication request from Dr. Phineas Wells.
Pásamelo. Estaba esperando saber algo de él.
Ah, there you are, hale and hearty, and captain of your own ship. I see you're putting the Unreliable to good use. Shame about her former captain. Horrible way to die. How are you feeling, by the way? I lost track of you in that cave back there. Experiencing any unnatural drippage? Perfectly normal side effect of thawing, I assure you.
Ahora puedo congelar el tiempo, pero nunca lo uso. He estado sintiendo ligeros mareos. Además puedo ralentizar el tiempo.
Oh, that, yes, that's probably permanent. I wouldn't worry about it, though. I'm sure you're fine. What you saw in Emerald Vale is happening all across the colony. Food shortages, lack of supplies, and basic necessities. We're dying. The chairman, the minister, and all their lackeys on the board are to blame. The Hope has some of the brightest minds Earth ever sent us. If we can revive the Hope's colonists, they can help us undo the board's mistakes. They can help us set things right. You need to get to Stellar Bay on Monarch. I have contacts there. They'll help us, find the chemicals to revive your fellow colonists. Gladys Kelly, lovely woman, runs a cozy little black marketing outfit on the Groundbreaker. She can get you a nav key to land on Stellar Bay.
¿Por qué necesito una clave de navegación para aterrizar en un planeta?
Strictly speaking, Monarch is a moon, terraformed badly, and almost completely lawless. You'll love it. Captains don't fly their own ships, you see. Your navigation terminal handles the, navigation. Think of a nav key as a set of flight instructions. The board's been confiscating nav keys for Stellar Bay, so we must rely on unconventional means of acquisition. Hence, Miss Gladys Kelly.
¿Qué me impide abandonar el Sion sin más?
Without a skip drive, good luck. You'll be dead before you make it to the nearest star. Look, I admire your optimism, but the sad truth is you're stuck here. You, me, and the rest of this colony. We're all skating precariously around the edge of oblivion together. None of us are leaving Halcyon alive, so we may as well make it a better place, and we can start by reviving the Hope.
Sobre esa tal Gladys, ¿cómo sé que es de fiar?
Gladys and I have been doing business for years. Her smuggling credentials are unimpeachable. If anyone can get you a key to Monarch, it's her.
¿No podemos aterrizar en algún lugar a las afueras de Bahía Estelar?
In theory, I suppose you could land your ship in Cascadia, and in theory, I suppose you might survive the experience. Cascadia is utterly seething with dangerous, highly aggressive creatures, more than capable of tearing you limb from limb. You'd have to be a lunatic to land in Cascadia, and I'm reasonably certain I tested your brain for incipient signs of insanity. Trust me, talk to Gladys Kelly.
Vale, iré a hablar con Gladys.
Excellent. I'll send her a wireless. Let her know you're coming. By the way, I gave Captain Hawthorne a disguise apparatus of my own design, cutting-edge technology years ahead of its time. I call it the Holographic Shroud. I'm sure it will prove remarkably useful to you. You'll find it in the captain's quarters.
¿Te importaría explicarme qué es un sudario holográfico?
Marvelous device. I'm quite proud of myself. The shroud changes the user's appearance to mimic that of another. It has limits. First-generation technology, you see, but promising. Exciting to see it in use at last. Very simply, the holographic shroud uses biometric information contained on standard identity cartridges to generate a holographic projection around you.
¿Has mencionado que esta cosa tiene limitaciones?
Only stands up to a casual scrutiny. Use it too long, bound to flicker, blur, something like that. Movement makes it more likely. Best used in moderation. When you see guards in your path you can't sneak past, for example. Maintain your distance. Act normal. No running, no jumping. Don't draw their attention. If they pay attention, they're more likely to notice flaws in the hologram.
¿Para qué necesito un aparato para esto? ¿No puedo robar un uniforme o algo así?
A change of clothes. What is this? Some old spy serial? What inattentive and brainless guard would be fooled by such a shabby disguise? The holographic shroud masks not only your clothes, but your face and fingerprints. It modulates your voice and sweetens your breath.
¿Cómo cojones va a endulzarte el aliento un holograma?
Science, that's how.
Le daré buen uso, gracias.
Excellent. I'll contact you once you've found a way to get to Stellar Bay. If you have any questions, come see me in my lab. And remember, don't trust the board. They'll try to win you over with promises of wealth and power, but it's a lie. The board's only interested in filling their own pockets. If we don't put a stop to them, they're going to run this colony to the ground.
Transmission ended. If you are ready to depart, please select a destination on your navigation terminal.
¿Y eso dónde está? Vale.
Yourself at home.
Sudario holográfico proyecta un disfraz sobre tus acompañantes YouTube que os permite acceder a zonas restringidas siempre y cuando tengas el cartucho de identificación correspondiente. El personal no autorizado no puede acceder a las zonas restringidas, de lo contrario será atacado en cuanto lo vean.
Captain.
Ok. En perfecto estado, la mayoría de los cromos representan a jugadores de los martillos de Festo y los defensores de Til. Engancha orden de la Inquisición Científica, Departamento de Literatura, se ha aprobado la promoción Cuchis Cuchis de Tita Cleo, firmado por Seymour Whitlock, que tuvo el récord de mayor número de muertes en el campo durante 3 temporadas consecutivas. ¿Puedo dormir en tu cama, de Soto?
Yes, you caught me ruminating again. Guilty as charged. What's occupying your thoughts?
Me gusta conocer a la gente con la que vuelo. ¿Cuál es tu historia?
Nothing too out of the ordinary. Just your run-of-the-mill vicar with a violently enthusiastic disposition.
¿Disposición violentamente entusiasta?
That's what my parents called it. I grew up in a pit of a town, much like Edgewater. I was destined to be a laborer like my parents, but I was infected early with a need to solve the equation. My passion didn't sit well with them.
¿No eran religiosos?
On the contrary. They internalized the precepts of scientism like no one I've ever known. They had a pure faith, a faith that brought joy to them regardless of the situation. I envied that. I wanted that peace. I thought if I became a vicar, I could find it. Or at the very least, find out why I lacked it.
¿Pero no se sintieron orgullosos cuando te hiciste vicario?
They thought I was fighting the plan, should have accepted my lot. Some people pursue the clergy for power, prestige, but that was not me.
Háblame de nuevo sobre el plan.
The simple version is this. The force which we call the Grand Architect created the universal equation that underlies and defines everything in the universe. Everything flows from the equation, or in layman's terms, the grand plan. Is the Grand Architect a consciousness? A natural force? Did it create the equation on purpose? The answers to these questions don't really matter. The equation, the plan, is all that matters. Contentment is found by accepting one's role in the plan.
Además del gran arquitecto y del plan, ¿en qué crees?
Scientism, as its name implies, believes that nature abhors equality. The strong survive, and the weak perish for the betterment of the whole. And reason, not emotion, is the seat of all morality. Wisdom means accepting the vicissitudes of life with grace and dignity.
Me parece un sistema de creencias muy cruel.
I prefer to think of it as looking at reality for what it truly is, not how we'd like it to be.
Hablemos de otra cosa.
Yes?
Es curioso que confíes tanto en mí como para alistarte sin siquiera conocerme.
I have run headlong into too many walls in my pursuit of the truth. This book is my last hope, and you were my only hope of getting it translated.
¿Y si el libro no contiene las respuestas que buscas?
I honestly don't know what I'd do. This quest has consumed me for the better part of my life. I fear there's nothing else left to me. What about you? What's your story?
Era un colono en la Esperanza, un científico llamado Wells me salvó.
And how did he do that?
Robó mi cuerpo de la Esperanza en los confines de la colonia y me descongeló.
Well, you do seem different than every other colonist. Let's pretend for the moment I believe you. What are you going to do now?
Lo estoy ayudando a recuperar más de esas sustancias químicas que necesita para salvar al resto de los colonos.
That seems a dangerous proposition. Why risk your life now that it's been returned to you?
Me parece lo correcto.
A commendable attitude.
¿Sabes dónde puedo encontrar a alguien que hable francés en esta colonia?
I've been thinking on that. There's a former infamous philosopher scholar who fled Terra 2 some years ago. He's an expert on Baconu. He's also who told me of the journal's presence in Emerald Vale. If anyone in this colony could translate that book, it would be him.
¿En serio solo hay un tipo en toda la colonia que sabe francés?
The only one I'm aware of. I suppose we could always just ask random passers-by if they are.
¿Es que Francia ya no existe? Tomo nota de tu comentario sarcástico y aparecerá reflejado en tu informe.
1,000 pardons, my good captain. I thought we were engaging in witty repartee. Now, as far as tracking down this scholar, we should start on the Groundbreaker. It's where I'd go if I wanted to get off Terra 2. Great place to pick up a ride to Hephaestus, Scylla, even Monarch. All I need is access to a data cartridge from the security terminal. Their easily hackable system keeps a registry of all crew manifests for both arrivals and departures.
¿Cómo es que un simple vicario puede ser un pirata consumado?
Before I transferred to Edgewater, I had a wealth of time to develop certain, secular skills during my years serving a particular penitentiary flock. I meditated, led sermons, provided guidance to the inmates as needed, of course. I also played prison yard tossball and taught myself a bit about computronic security systems.
¿Cómo va a ayudarnos una lista de tripulantes a localizar a tu amigo el erudito?
I'll comb the last 6 months of departure manifests to track the Philosophist's off-world destination.
Suena bien, vamos.
Thank you, Captain.
¿Y qué, venís conmigo ahora o qué? No. Sigo teniendo a Parvita de acompañante. Cosas... repusieron el stock de comida. Uy. Oh. Hola, Parvita.
Yeah, so this is my hidey spot now. I was looking for a place that was quiet. I figured the kitchen would be louder than the hold, so here I am. Cozy-like, ain't it?
¿Qué te parece la nave?
That's in pretty good shape considering how hard Mr. Hawthorne ran it. It's a Yakita LHA 120, A2 model, I'm pretty sure. The Block 2 design scooshed in extra cargo space, but didn't change the stock engines. Probably a touch underpowered, huh?
Accurate in all particulars. I conclude you are Edgewater's board certified.
¿Puede escuchar desde ahí? Eso es el ordenador de la nave. No es inteligente, pero lo disimula bien.
So you're gonna call her it, not she?
Though my voice is currently pitched to suggest female, I possess no gender. Any pronoun preferred by the user is acceptable.
Hello! I am not a board-certified mechanic, but my dad was. He taught me all he knew. Do you understand?
Speech recognition is one of the many skills I have been programmed to simulate.
You're not simulating it, you're doing it! I asked a question and you answered it.
I am gratified you consider this facsimile convincing.
¿Qué te parece, Parvati? Ahora que tenemos el regulador, ¿podemos volar con seguridad?
I don't see any holes in the hull. I'll take a good squint at her, make sure everything's tip-top. But I think we're cooking with plasma torches. You can do that, you know. My dad taught me how to make grilled cheese sandwiches with a plasma torch.
Aprendiste tu oficio de tu padre, es lo que diste a entender cuando hablaste con Reed.
Mostly, yeah. I lived in the maintenance office near all of my life. Mr. Thompson never let me forget how funny that was.
¿Siempre has trabajado con tu padre?
Except for my schooling years, I was always beside him. Or tied to him. He used to carry me about in a sling when I was real little. When I got older, he set me to sorting tools and parts while he worked. Later, he taught me simple fixes like busted crate latches.
¿Tu padre trabajó alguna vez con naves espaciales?
Not on the regular. Once in a great long while, a Saltuna boat would break down on the pad. He'd always bring me along for those. Mostly, he did the same as me. Kept Bess, the cannery, running. Turned loaders, plumbing and electricity, some plastering. I never got the hang of that.
¿Por qué?
He meant funny as in odd. It's not normal for anyone to do as their parents. You take a vocational test. That decides your schooling and your career. When I tested out for maintenance, everyone figured it was on account of my dad. They were real unhappy with us.
¿Por qué no querían que trabajaras en mantenimiento?
Because they were hoping their own kid would get the job and get sent back to Edgewater. When folk go away for schooling, they don't get back to where they begun. Not usually. You go straight to your first job, wherever the company's got an opening.
¿Y no tenéis ninguna posibilidad de elegir?
I reckon you could say, no thanks, I don't want a job. But then you don't got a job.
¿Toda tu vida se decide con una sola prueba de aptitud?
Well, they're powerful good tests. They rattled off this whole list of names who'd worked on them, with fancy bits hanging off them. Doctors and esquires and the thirds. Even if you don't believe they actually catch what everybody's best at, everybody's got to take them. So at least it's fair-ish.
Pero si esto se te da muy bien y además te gusta.
Well, I'm good at making things work the way they ought. Not so much at doing such to somebody else's schedule. There's times I'm working deep in the guts of a loader, getting it all running perfect. Then I look up to see it's tomorrow, and I've blown another deadline. Anyhow, I was happy to get back home. I didn't care much for schooling.
¿No te gustaban las clases?
Oh, there were a whole lot of reading, not nearly enough doing. Like, before they'd issue you a wrench, they wanted an essay on the design of different wrenches. Then there'd be quizzes on company regulations for storage and maintenance of wrenches.
¿Qué hacías en tu tiempo libre?
As soon as I got permission, I spent all my time in the machine shop. They had all manner of parts, but they didn't want me using them, so I had to sneak them sometimes. I even slept in there. Had a hammock tied up in the rafters. Before I left, I installed a little skylight for myself, so I could see the stars.
¿Fabricaste algo chulo?
When an engine came in, I'd strip it down and rebuild it. I mostly built for myself. Custom tools, little mechanical critters to talk to. When my roommates tried to talk, I'd get so nervous I'd be drenched in sweat. It was easier for everybody when I stayed off on my own. I doubt any of them remember me now.
Después de la formación, ¿te mudaste de nuevo a Frontemar?
Yep, nothing much had changed. Everything was a little grayer, a little dirtier. Dad met me at the shuttle and gave me a big ol' hug. I noticed straight away that he was moving slower and stiffer. He made a little grunt when I squeezed.
¿Pasaste mucho tiempo con él después de volver?
About a year. I tried to do more of the work so he could rest. His heart gave him pains. Dad never said that he loved me, you know? I knew on account of him showing it. How he'd stay up late to help with my projects or listen to my fretting. Oh gosh, look at the time. Sorry to bend your ears so long. And I got so much to do before this ship's in decent shape.
Ok. Bueno, ¿y ahora qué mierda hago? La máquina de navegación. Terminal de navegación de la falible. ¿Cómo se usa esto? Laboratorio de Phineas, Terra 2, Monarca. Tengo que ir ahí. O A Escila. Ahora voy a ir al laboratorio del tipo este. ¿Eh? Este es el mapa del sistema. Aquí puedes... Ah, ok. ¿Ya estamos acá? No hay ninguna escenita de... Ah, ok. O sea que sí puedo llevar a dos.
Can you hear me? Does this work?
Funciona.
Oh, damn it, blast, that's loud.
A ver si tenés algo para robarte. No, eso es para volver. Chatarra. Uy. No, por ahí no. Uy. Bloqueado.
I'm just securing my ongoing experiments. And securing myself.
Estás completamente seguro, viejo. Estamos en el mismo equipo.
Mind the mess. I haven't had a visitor since... in fact, I've never had a visitor.
Ah. Cosas. ¿Tenés alguna máquina para vender? Porquerías que tengo, pirateo. Lo he descifrado, te daré detalles más adelante. Será difícil de reproducir, necesito tu ayuda. Todos los materiales necesarios deberían estar disponibles en Alción, pero no sé dónde. He dejado un nuevo socio en Terra 2, cerca de Frontemar. Le interesa mi propósito, pero actualmente solo confío en él un 23,7%, más o menos. Va a recuperar una nave, debería llegar en cualquier momento. Solo me falta saber dónde tengo que enviarle. Avísame cuando recibas esto, qué ganas de acabar. Sí, sí, veo que no tengo mucha confianza, ¿no? Falta un poquito más. Uy, Dios, ¿qué es esto? Ugh. 14, que esta vez no se te olvide, es fundamental, 14. La contraseña de algo. Armas tecnológicas, ok.
Aha! I see you found my portable molecular compression device, better known as a shrink ray.
Ah, sí.
Target, point, shoot. Your target will shrink down into a manageable size, whereupon you may commence beating them to a pulp. Feel free to try it on a marauder sometime.
Lo probaré. El material orgánico con congelación rápida vuelve a su estructura celular original cuando se trata de tintura de desimetilsulfóxido. El índice de muerte celular explosiva es de un nada desdeñable 6%. Desventajas difíciles de conseguir. Cantidades limitadas del compuesto, probablemente producidas por titacleo. Se ha descatalogado recientemente por reacciones adversas graves. Se me ha gastado el sucedáneo de la leche de titacleo. Voy a experimentar con un sustituto de la leche parcialmente emulsionado de ganga espacial. Se ha terminado de cocinar, añadido 56 gramos del sustituto de ganga espacial. Atroz. He notado cómo moría un poco por dentro. Añadir ganga espacial a la lista. He perdonado la vida a uno de mis carcipuercos experimentales para utilizarlo como fuente renovable de alimento. He bautizado a este afortunado gorrino como burbujitas. Poner nombre a un animal crea sintonía y un vínculo emocional positivo entre ambas partes, supuestamente. También mejora el sabor de los tumores. Tendría que investigarlo. Ah, los carcipuercos. Me gusta hasta sus andares. No sé cómo sobrevivió la gente sin estas maravillas genéticas de deliciosidad porcina. Hacer la matanza del cerdo en vez de cosechar los tumores que se desprenden naturalmente de la carne. Cual mazapán que cae del árbol al alcanzar su punto exacto de madurez. Me parece el colmo de la barbarie. Hay que ver cómo avanza la ciencia. ¿Esto qué mierda es? Pirateando. Me he hecho con los servicios de un tal capitán Alex Houghton de la Falibre. Espero que no le pusiera el nombre a la nave por la calidad de sus servicios. Enviaré a mi nuevo cómplice a Hawthorne con una cápsula de escape tan pronto como finalice el progreso de reanimación. Hawthorne debería ser una compañía agradable, o al menos un acompañante aceptable. Espero que por la ley, que no sea un completo idiota. No lo llegué a conocer bien. Y esto... Y vos sos el porcino. El carcipuerco. Esto. Un planeta insignificante del sistema SK. Lo único que ha mantenido con vida durante 7 décadas es la tecnología de esta pequeña cámara. Los demás colonos siguen dentro de las suyas, a la espera de que los despiertes.
Reviving you from hibernation was my greatest accomplishment. Your odds of survival were a mere 28%.
Las probabilidades eran muy bajas. ¿Y qué? ¿Podemos hablar? ¿O algo?
Oh, thank the law. Your skin hasn't spontaneously changed color. Potential side effect of the revival process. Very rare, but you never know. Right. Welcome to my little habitation, such as it is. I've got caffeinoids, cysty bits, if you're into that sort of thing. So, welcome. Make yourself at home. My secret hideout is your secret hideout.
Que conste que te agradezco que me sacaras de la esperanza.
Not at all, my intrepid accomplice. I should thank you for tolerating my somewhat brusque manner. I only regret that I couldn't save more of your fellow settlers, what with being hunted by the board, and emptying my supply of necessary chemicals.
Quería hablarte de otra cosa.
Of course. What's on your mind?
¿Hay alguna razón para que estés detrás de un cristal blindado?
Oh, it's not you. I do experiments in that room. Some of them get quite scientific. The unexpected is to be treasured, but from a safe distance. Regardless, it's quite comfortable in here, you know. I have my beans, have my caffeinoids, plenty of toilet paper.
¿Tienes un momento?
Absolutely. Let's talk.
¿Has conocido a mi tripulación?
No, and I've been trying very hard to avoid making eye contact.
Nice to meet you, Dr. Wells. I'm Parvati Holcomb.
Wait, not another word. I don't want to know your name. I don't want to know who you are. Let's just enjoy our plausible deniability while it lasts, shall we? Why don't you just invite the entire colony to my secret, carefully concealed laboratory? It isn't as if I wanted privacy.
Muestra un poco de hospitalidad, Phineas.
Oh, very well. I can be a little cantankerous when I haven't had my caffeinoids. You have my apologies and so forth. For what it's worth, I am pleased that you found a crew, such as they are. You're a talented scientist after all. Our kind has always been
¿Soy científico?
popular.
Ah, sí, soy científico. Déjate de peloteo, Phineas.
That's odd. I'm at least 65% certain my tone was sufficiently sincere. Perhaps the glass is distorting my voice. Must look into that.
Bueno, vamos hablando.
Of course, I'll be here, as usual.